Africa Business News, proudly sponsored by EY.
Coming up on Africa Business News, Nigeria's elections are postponed again, Mozambique's plans to increase mining activity, and highlights from South Africa's State of the Nation address. Stay tuned.
Africa, it is huge, it is diverse, and its business landscape fascinating and dynamic. And that's our business here on your favorite weekly African business stop. In Nairobi, we have Bonnie Tunya, who brings us the latest from East Africa. Christy Cole Popola is in Lagos, and we will hear from Christine Mundwa in Johannesburg. My name is Victor Homoeswan, and this is the Africa Business News. Bonnie, the International Telecommunications Union of the UN has declared June 15th as the global deadline for the digital migration of television signals. In East Africa, Tanzania and Rwanda have already moved over to digital without much drama, but Kenya has not yet made the shift, resulting in television signals from 4 stations being switched off. Are these some of Kenya's major stations, and what is the situation at the moment?
Well, Victor, this drama has been going on for years now, not just months, in the form of court battles. And you are right, 3 of Kenya's main private television stations are unavailable in most of the country due to a row over the switch off from analog to digital. Now, what happened is that the authority switched off the analog transmission station for these 3 networks, and the 3 networks, in retaliation over the disputes they've been having, they decided to withdraw their signals from the digital platforms. So in effect, no one can access them. And the analog signal for KTN, Citizen and NTV and its subsidiary QTV were turned off over the weekend, Victor. Now the TV stations then switched off their digital signals in protest. This is the latest twist in a long-running battle over the digital switch of broadcasting, which has led to several court battles in recent past. Now, Victor, looking at what the situation is now, we've seen consumer protection bodies go to court saying customers need to be protected more. We have the conglomerate of media owners going to court saying we need to protect our investment. So it is a back and forth, but as we stand now, most of Nairobi people cannot access TV. Oh,
strange contradiction though, considering Nairobi has been named for the 2nd year in a row as Africa's most intelligent city by the Intelligent Community Forum, with an assurance that Kenya's capital city could attain the status of a developed city in 20 years. One thing is certain though, mobile money, one of Kenya's most proud innovations, is influencing a lot more countries every day. Ethiopia, a country more than twice the size of the population of Kenya, now wants in on the money action, mobile money action rather. How big is this likely to get?
Well, Victor, the conversation about mobile money in Africa is one that puts a smile on the faces of many people, and especially entrepreneurs in this part of the world. Ethiopia is not the only one. It is the latest one, but as late as this week, we had information that Uganda has just about 18.5 million new subscribers who are using mobile money. Now, Ethiopia, with a population of 80 million, will obviously be an interesting conversation into this. And this is not just happening in the tech beat of things, because mobile money has transformed lives across Africa. Looking at the popularity that is now gaining, the assimilation into bank, we have banks going into MVNOs, and these are things that Ethiopia will be trying in the days to come in regards to mobile money. So really, there is no telling when this will end. However, Victor, concern has been raised in regard to regulation. Most of these emerging markets do not have proper legislation in regard to how do we put some sort of regulation and control into this money. We have innovation that is growing faster than legislation, and that is the headache of a lot of policymakers here. But all in all, it is positive news that finally, for a country as big as Ethiopia that was considered locked, probably mobile money will be one of the many steps in trying to open up this space.
And that 18 million accounts from Uganda will mean Uganda now has overtaken Tanzania into 2nd place after Kenya. But thank you, Bonnie Tunya, coming to us from Nairobi. We're joined by Christine Mundwa in Southern Africa next. We're still on Africa Business News. Christine Mundwa shares with us some of the highlights from the State of the Nation address by President Jacob Zuma highlights that are relevant to the business environment, I must say, not the drama that was around the State of the Nation address, because that wasn't short of drama, especially considering the mining indaba had gone off not so far from there uneventfully.
Yeah, and we're glad that the president eventually got to actually finish his speech. But as you're saying, I think the biggest thing for us was the announcement that the first output from the projected nuclear project would be coming out in 2023. Of course, you know, the country is battling these power constraints. But interestingly enough, the South African government seems to have ignored all advice by advisors, even advisors in the country, saying that nuclear isn't quite the option for the South African context. I mean, it's a very significant investment to the tune of $85 billion.
$85 billion. I always wish we had got the chance to listen to the speech, because there were many good points, including the people who opposed. But anyway, what am I? Rio Tinto, moving over to Mozambique, left Mozambique in a huff because of the logistical nightmare that was associated with moving its produce. It looks like the government is doing better there to correct that situation?
That's it. We've just been hearing from the country's transport minister, Minister Mesquita, and he has been visiting, of course, that state-owned railway company, right, basically reporting the good news, saying that they are making significant progress in terms of ramping up the company's rail capacity. It still remains such a cost-intensive operation to move the coal from the basin where the mines are located to the port, and that is why the people haven't been able to be successful. But we do know that a company like Vale, a Brazilian company, has actually built its own railway. So the minister went as far as saying the government has created the environment for companies to do such a thing, to assist the government. But in the meantime, it's still not significant. More capacity needs to be.
In the end, if you're going to get involved in the game, you have to be willing to play for the long haul. You can't be rushing.
That's it.
Anyway, thank you very much, Christine. We are up with Christy Cole-Popola in West Africa as she takes us through some of the highlights from that region to wrap up Africa Business News. Christy Cole, we know Nigeria has shifted elections by 6 weeks from Valentine's Day to March 28th and April 11th, leaving West Africa's most populous country more time to tackle Boko Haram, the insurgency, and tighten security. So far, how is Nigeria using its 6-week extension to prepare? Are we seeing any clear results already of the delay?
Clear results yet? No. There are many schools of thought on how this should have or could have played out. The condemnations continue, latest coming from 11 out of the registered 28 political parties who have cited inconsistencies in the excuses given for the postponement of the elections, from the distribution of permanent voter cards to security. There are also doubts about the military's ability to quash Boko Haram in 6 weeks, having been unable to achieve that over the last 4 years.
Lest we forget, Nigeria has taken a massive hit due to the very low international crude oil prices. I'm also interested in the PwC report on the financial management of the Nigeria's oil sector. I know that's a hot topic now in Nigeria. While a section of the media reports that the NNPC was indicted, the NNPC has refuted this. What are the real issues here, Christy Cole?
Now, that is a story that has spanned the episodes across 15 months. First, the former central bank governor Lamido Sanusi said some oil money was missing, leading the Senate to mandate its Committee of Finance to investigate the allegation. Although the Senate declared that no money was missing, the figures kept changing and eventually came down to $49 billion oil money missing. This led the Finance Minister, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, to institute the audit by PricewaterhouseCoopers, which recently submitted the final results to the President. Issues have shifted from inconsistencies of figures alleged to be missing by the former governor to alleged politicization of the matter to negative press both locally and internationally. Now, the NNPC is obviously happy that the audit report not only says no money was missing and maintains the amounts to be remitted clears it of any wrongdoing, but then the media has widely criticized it for failing in the first place to remit the money.
Well, NNPC being the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, but Ghana has been blaming ongoing power crisis there on Nigeria for not supplying enough gas through the West African gas pipeline. But it looks as if with more investments of this nature that you're going to tell me about, the lights might be staying on for longer in Ghana. The power barges from Turkey will now arrive in March, and a 40-megawatt solar power plant is being built. Who is the investor in this case?
Yes, Ghana will receive 2 electricity generating vessels from Car Power Ship Ghana Company Limited next month to produce up to 450 megawatts of power to Ghana's national electricity grid, operating from 2 temporal power stations from Tema and Takoradi ports. Now, that's more than 1/5 of Ghana's power needs. This deal is a part of a 10-year power purchase agreement with the state-run Electricity Company of Ghana. On a longer-term basis, Ghana is now looking to alternative energy. Total and Neon Energy are holding discussions with development partners on an $80 million solar power project. This is expected to provide 40 megawatts power and should be completed in 2017.
Well, that takes us to our trivia of the week, and we also get to hear about the favorite stocks of Christy Cole and Bonnie. Stay with Africa Business News. And at this point, Bonnie and Christy Cole, I put you on the spot. $10,000 burning a hole in my pocket. I want to invest it in a share in your region. Which one is it and why? Let's start with you, Bonnie.
Well, Victor, this time around, I'll have to go with an energy company, Kengen to be precise. Share price is 1080, has gone up for just about 4.35%. It's not the highest gainer. However, Victor, looking at the kind of changes that are happening in this sector, they're announcing just about 180 additional megawatts into the grid. This is obviously a company that has a bright future, looking at the sort of changes that are happening in this space. Cost of manufacturing, energy to the manufacturing sector has gone down by 30%. So there's obviously a lot of goodwill in regards to this company. So I'll put my money on Kengen this week.
And how about you, Christy Cole in West Africa? What's your money on?
I'm definitely taking my money to Ghana this time around. Now, despite Ghana's economic woes, its banks have been rated hot in recent times, with EcoBank being its hottest. With its large market share, which keeps funding costs low relative to Ghana's banking sector, and its positive outlook on asset quality. Also, EcoBank Ghana's high exposure to private enterprises is set to reduce susceptibility of its loan book to deterioration. So definitely EcoBank.
Well, a banking stock and an energy stock. We move to our trivia. In this week, February 17th in 2011 marked the beginning of the unrest in Libya. And in 1964, the overthrowing of the president of Gabon, Leon Mba. But it is celebrated also in which 2 African countries, I ask? A carnival that's part of the build-up to Easter. The only clue I'll give you is that one of the countries I'm talking about is an island. Let's hear it.
I'm blank.
No, you don't have to go to the island. Okay, the answers you're looking for are Cape Verde and Angola. This is the most celebrated festivity in Cape Verde, the Carnival of St. Vincent. Lucky you if you happen to be on the streets of Cape Verde or somewhere in Angola. If you're not, don't be such a party pooper. Pretend you are and start your own solo parade. A happy carnival to the people of Cape Verde and Angola. Well, we're back with you next week with more Africa Business News. We thank Christy Cole Popola out of Lagos, Bonnie Tunya in Nairobi, and earlier on, Christine Mundo here in Johannesburg. Stay tuned to CNBC Africa. Until next week, cheerio.